Right, we're going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about the benefits of frameworks. Now, for any customer to understand the value of a proposition, they need to be able to make a comparative assessment. I mentioned this earlier when we talked about the scales. Part of what people do is they compare. It's a comparative assessment. It's yours versus other things. That is just how the human mind works. So the true value can only be determined by assessing how well a proposition does these three things. Firstly, addresses the needs or benefits sought by the customer. Number two, recognizes the relative emphasis or importance of the needs to the customer. And third, it compares to propositions offered by competitors. So people and the human mind are comparison machines. We're always assessing against other things. So your proposition needs to address the benefits and needs sought by that person, the relative importance of the needs to that person, and your competitors as well. They're always going to compare to competitors where those are available. So with that in mind, you have to acknowledge the customer evaluation process. This is going to happen, and you need to have a keen awareness that it is going to happen. So by being fully aware of this, the business can proactively perform a similar needs-based comparative assessment to understand two things. Number one, the extent to which its proposition addresses and considers the needs and their importance for the customer. And number two, the means by which their offering may be differentiated from that of competitors. So that's a very fancy way of saying, number one, customers are going to compare your offers to others. And since you know that, you as the business, with your business, can proactively perform that assessment before it even gets to the customer. So you need to know exactly how it stands up against the customer needs, going right back to understanding customer needs as a starting point for all great marketing. And number two, comparing to your competitors. How are you better and how are you worse? And how does your offer stand up in the mind of customers against your competitors? And the point of all this is that in order to perform the assessment and consistently organize competitive intelligence, it is necessary to have a consistent framework for defining propositions. And that's the whole point of what I'm trying to get to here. The benefits of framework is having a framework. It enables you to do something consistently. If you create a value proposition in one way that's completely haphazard, or uses one formula or methodology, and then you make another one using completely different formats, methodologies, and systems, they're very hard to compare. So by using a consistent framework to define your propositions, you're able to define them better, because the more you use a framework, the better you get at using it, the better is the quality of the output. And you can compare better all of your different offers and against the competitors' offers. So that's the point. It's a long way of saying we are going to use a framework because the benefits of frameworks outweigh not using a framework or doing it ad hoc in a rough kind of way. So having said that, let's have a look at the framework. The framework gives us consistency in analysis and the ability to isolate offer elements. So this is our framework. On the right, you see the value proposition statement structure. Now remember, the value proposition describes the benefits customers can expect from your products and services. And the value proposition statement structure, which we will get very familiar with, is we will do X for Y by delivering Z. If you're in the US, North America, by delivering Z. I'm based in Europe, so I'm going to use Z. We will do X for Y by delivering Z, where in this little equation, X is the higher order benefit, Y is the customer target or target segment, and Z is the key differentiator or differentiators. That can be single if it's good enough, or it can be plural, it can be many in there. That is the value proposition statement structure, and that is our basic framework that we will develop and continue to use to create your value proposition. So that is how we create the value proposition. Below that is the offer. Remember I stated earlier, the offer supports the value proposition. The offer is the manifestation of the value proposition. And while it can differ for customers, while delivering the same high level value proposition. So you can have the total overall high level value proposition, and you can have the offer, one offer supporting it, and you can have slightly different offers all supporting the same value proposition and being expressed through it. And you'll see this because the offer elements is your product, your service, your interaction, how you interact with the market, and your pricing. So you, being a customer of other companies, are well aware that they can have different offers, different products, services, interactions, and different prices, all under a single value proposition. But to, again, keep things quite simple, we talked about frameworks, the benefits of frameworks, and this is our framework. It's the statement structure. We will do X for Y by delivering Z. We're going to focus on that part first, and then later we will focus on the offer. We will add the offer afterward, but it's a two-step process. You have to get the value proposition statement done first. So we're going to focus on that first. But keeping it simple again, I've given you quite a bit of the theory and a lot of explanation of why we're going to do this and what we're going to do. But let's boil it down again. In simplest terms, you're trying to do one thing and one thing only. And this is based on what your customers want. So your customers buy products and services and interact with companies because they want one thing and one thing only. They want to move from their current situation on the left to their desired situation. And your job is to help them move from their current situation to their desired situation. That is what your product and service, or product or service, does. That is what your company does to your customers, and that is how you grow. So, exercise time. Let's make this a bit more real world, shall we? I just combined two of these now. So remember, your goal is to move your customers from their current situation, where they are now, to their desired situation, where they want to be. And you do that by helping with your value proposition, which is we will do X for Y by Z. So let's add that back in. But before we do, take a moment and think about your company or your product or your brand or your service, whatever the first one is that you want to make a value proposition for. So if it's a product and you want to move your customers from their current situation to their desired situation using the product, write on a piece of paper, fill in these blanks. We will do X for something, Y by something which is Z. We will do X for Y by delivering Z. And I will add it in here for you. We will do X for Y by delivering Z, where X is the higher order benefit, Y is the customer you're targeting or the segment you're targeting, and Z is the key differentiator. How do you help them achieve this? Current situation to desired situation. So I will give you 30 seconds to, on a piece of paper, fill this out, right? We will do blank for blank by blank, and then do literally a first draft, a brain dump, a first pass. There's no pressure. If you write something down now, it's not written in stone. It's literally to get your mind thinking along this way. And we will iterate it many times over, but just do it as a blank piece of paper exercise. So I'll give you some time to write it out, and then write it for what you have today as a starting point. All right, we're back. So how did you do? Remember, no pressure, just filling in those blanks with what you have today. And even if you're creating a product, what could it be? What do you want to do? How are you going to help them? Very simple exercise, and you can fill it out, print out a couple of copies, try a few different ones, even maybe do a brainstorm exercise with some members of your team, just to get things going. So now we understand the basic framework and the value proposition statement structure.